Hello and welcome to Moneyball Bets for July 8th. How's everyone doing? My name is Erik over at eTalk21 Sports, and my co-host today is David, aka Better DP21. David, happy Brian Wu Day, man.
Every time I hear Brian Wu, I think of the Mighty Ducks for some reason with the announcer going woo woo woo, but I know that was Kenny Wu. But I keep putting that in there and going woo woo woo, Brian Wu. Like it's that Woo Day for Erik, and I'm gonna hear about it. I'm always gonna
Dude,
hear about
I'm just letting you know, this kid is funding my summer vacation.
it.
With the strikeout props, I've been hitting on this kid. Him
Yeah.
constantly being dogs when they're winning, except for that one game.
Yep.
His first game. I mean, the kid's just a money pit.
Yeah.
And you know what? He's number one in my heart, dude. And I notice you are finally jumping on the train, my friend.
I'm coming around when it makes sense. I'm coming around.
David, what's your
I'm a believer in the kid now at this point, definitely. I'll let you know. I didn't even tell you this earlier in the week, but I also took his strikeout props his last, outing, and I also cashed in on that as well. So I am right there with you. But I know this is going to segue right into our first play here of the day, right? So, while we're talking about it, we're going to look at Seattle against Houston. We got Brian Wu on the mound today. He is averaging a 1.65 ERA and 1.04 WHIP over his last 3 games, over the last 16 innings pitched. Conversely, Valdez is on the other side for Houston. He is actually sporting more of a 3 ERA and a WHIP, also very similar at 1. So they're both comparable in that sense. The difference maker for me and why I'm taking, and bullpens are also very similar, right? Seattle's got a ERA lower than 3. I think it's at 2.95. WHIP also right around 1. Very strong bullpen for Seattle, has been all year. And Seattle for me right now is currently ranked as one of my top 10 hitting offensive teams. And then conversely, Houston, they're just not hitting the ball right now. You can't bet on a team that's not hitting. And it's something I've been saying all season long. I've got them ranked number 24 going into today's matchup. That being said, I'm looking at, the M's plus 101 money. And something that I also noticed that I also just wanted to point out for anybody listening was this line opened at plus 134. There's been strong line movement with money coming in on the M's.
Because Wu's sharp, man. Wu is sharp.
Yeah.
And God damn it, I was the first one on the train, dude. I was the first one on the Wu train. And that's where I'm going. But you know what? I got plus 110 for the first 5 and plus 110 for the game. Let's start out with the first 5. Wu, in his last 5 starts, he's at 6 career starts. The Mariners are 4-1 in his last 5. Look at Valdez. The last start against the Cardinals, he looked pitiful. He just didn't look sharp at all. Cardinals were able to get to him. Cardinals bats have been struggling. You look at the reason I did the first 5 is I want when Wu's going to be in the game. He usually only lasts 6 innings. I think the Astros are going to struggle to get to his 98 mile per hour fastball. Wu has allowed no more than two earned runs in his last 5 starts. Looking at the Mariners for the month, they've won 6 of 7. They've only lost 1 game this month. And you look at the last 6 games that they've played against a team with a winning record, they are winning it. You mentioned how much the Astros bats have been struggling. I like the Mariners here. I got them at plus 110 for the first 5 in the game. I'm locked in. I'll get all day on my boy, the Wu man.
I like it. I like it a lot. Very strong play today.
Next play, my friend. You're going up to Milwaukee.
Yeah, so looking at the Cincinnati Reds and Milwaukee, we're talking about the division right here, in my opinion.
David and his dirty Reds. A month ago, we gave out the Reds at 10-1 to win this division. Now after last night's game, they are a game up.
Yep, exactly. And so it's a very close what I want to say matchup for this series that they have going in before the All-Star break. really going to determine, how that second half looks. And, I think it's a big game to just look at in general. But, I'm not picking sides in this one. I'm actually looking at totals in this one because these starting pitchers and these bullpens are taxed. I mean, we're looking at Luke Weaver with an ERA of 7.82 and a whip of 1.8 going into this game over his last three. Conversely, looking at Colin Ray, the kid also is sporting for himself a ERA of 4.9 with a whip of 1.4. So, and then when you get into these bullpens as well, we're looking at bullpens for them. Like I said, they're very much taxed at this point. The Cincinnati bullpen, available bullpen today, is sporting an ERA of 5 with a whip of 1.5. And then similarly for Milwaukee, they are sporting their available bullpen average of 6.75 earned runs a game and a whip of 2.2. I'm telling you. And at the same point, I've got both of these teams. So they're pretty hot hitting teams coming into this series. Cincinnati is my number 8 ranked offensive team. And then on the opposite end, I got Milwaukee ranked number 9. So both two top 10 hitting teams coming into this with bad pitching in front of them. Runs are going to be abound here and, on each side of the ball, in my opinion. So I think the total right now is over 9. I definitely like it. I think my projections for the game, let me double check one thing, was actually at 10.5. So, there is an edge there in terms of making that play for yourself. And, I think I would just track where that line odds actually comes in at, as it gets closer to game time. I think right now is at minus 120. You can probably get it, depending on how the odds start to shake out, prior to game time. I bet that would come down to minus 115, minus 110. But, just something to be, cognizant of right now. These two teams right now, poor starting pitching, poor bullpens, two hot hitting offensive teams. It all makes sense to go for the over in this game.
And just something to back your point. Brewers hit a lot better at American Family Field, whatever the hell it's called right now.
Right.
Number 2, we have some bad weather out here right now. It's supposed to rain today. If that roof closes, the ball is going to be carrying more with the roof closed. Also, I went up there on Monday. I need to ask you this, man. That everyone was like, you got to take this, you got to have their signature brat. It had Swiss cheese on it, dude. What? It just didn't do it for me, dude. It was like, it had like Swiss cheese, like onions, I'm cool with, mustard, I'm down with. But the Swiss cheese, it just kind of threw it off for me.
That's. I mean, I know everybody's got a unique perspective of how to make a hot dog at a stadium, but I don't think I've ever heard anybody with Swiss cheese.
It was just a little weird.
Would you have it again?
No, God no. My next play, and I hinted at it earlier, I'm going to the Woo, man. I'm going to my little baby, the number 1 guy on Team ET, over 5.5 Ks. I got this when this first opened up at plus 102. Look, anything under minus 120 is a buy. If you want to go to a book that offers you over 6.5 at plus money, I would take that too. If you want plus money on this prop, he's gone over this total 5 of 6 career starts. This kid has 6 starts. He has 39 Ks in 6 career starts. That's 6.5 per start. On the season, the Astros are striking out 536 times versus righties. That's at a 24% clip. This week, the Astros are averaging striking out 6.5 times per game. This kid throws at 98 miles an hour. Astros are going to have a hard time catching up. They're not used to seeing this speed. And I'm telling everyone right now, as long as this kid doesn't have Tommy John, doesn't hurt his arm or anything, to lead the league in strikeouts next year is a must bet, because this kid is an absolute flamethrower. I'm all over Brian Woo today. Give me the over 5.5 Ks. And if they post a prop for most Ks on the game, most Ks on the day, I'm going to take that as well.
Nice. I like that a lot. I mean, like I said, I cashed with you on that earlier in the week. I can see him doing it again. And for those listening, I mean, Eric's getting really great odds. That line, I went and checked it for myself after looking at it. It's at -120 already. Like they know
Dude,
this kid's gonna
it is
strikeout machine.
it is moved, and like the market just hasn't caught on to it yet. So
Yeah.
next bet, my friend, what is your last one on the day?
All right. So last one that I'm looking at is actually probably the first game off the board today. Cubs against the Yankees. This is my value play of the day. All right. So, and this is simply a fade on Yankees bats is really what it comes down to. When I look at the offensive ranking of what I have for the Yankees right now, I've got them ranked number 28 in the league. They are not scoring runs. They have no run support for their pitching staff. At the same time, Garrett Cole's not in bad form or anything. He's averaging 3 runs a game with a whip of about 1.3 over his last 18 innings pitched. So, I mean, he's not in bad form by any means. But, conversely, this isn't a bad play for Smiley for himself coming in. On the road, he averages a ERA of 3 himself with also a whip of about 1.3. So, we have pretty solid pitching matchup, but the difference maker for me is that I've got the Cubs ranked, much higher than the Yankees. I got the Cubs ranked at number 17, middle of the pack right now, but they're doing, they just have the offensive edge, and they came in and showed that last night, and I almost took them last night. I didn't, they came out on top then. I can definitely see them replicating that again over the first 5. I wanted to get away from their bullpens. The bullpen has actually, been a little taxed for themselves, but you're getting really good odds here. You could even take the run line at +0.5 if there was a tie going into the 5th inning, and you're still getting +115 on that line. So, there's definitely an edge here for the Cubs. I just like to play for the full money line because if I'm going to go down this path, 2 out of the 3 outcomes are in the bettor's favor. Why not? Let's just go for it all. At the end of the day, worst case scenario, we get a push, or a loss. But, I definitely think there's a better edge here. I think they're way overpriced just in terms of not seeing how poorly the Yankees bats are right now.
I like it. I like it a lot. My last one, and I'm going for a value play too, buddy, and you're going to like this one. Give me my
Woo!
Tiger.
He went above me. He said, hold on, hold my beer.
All right. Manning has looked good since coming back from his injury. First game back, he went 5 against the Rangers, only gave up 2. The next start, he went to Coors. One of the angles you and I have talked about, fading pitchers making their first start at Coors Field just because of how the ballpark plays. He only gave up 4. And I know people are like, oh, that's 4 runs. First start at Coors, that is a good start. I think he's going to look to make another step forward in his rehab with his velocity improving. On the flip side, Grossman's on the mound for the Jays. Okay. Now, he's been good this year, but you talked about run support, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's just take a look at him. The Jays have averaged only 3.4 runs per game when he started. Do you care to guess when other pitchers are starting, how many runs per game are they scoring?
No, I don't want to guess.
4.9.
Whew.
So they're like you talked about run support. The Jays are just not giving him run support. Tigers are getting bats back. Badu came back last night, second game back tonight, and also Riley Green is activated from the DL, which is going to be a big boost to this offense. He's looked good in his rehab starts in Toledo. I think we're getting the Tigers a little bit undervalued here based on what happened yesterday with that debacle. They had Alex Fado going for them. He looked awful in his first rehab. I thought he was going to be nails first start coming back. He looked awful coming back on his first start. Game kind of found off, and the Jays put up 12 on him. I think the Tigers bounce back tonight. I think Manning's going to light him up. Give me the Tigers plus the 195 as my big dog play.
I like it. I don't hate it. And I got Detroit middle of the pack, number 16, just above the Cubs that I just gave out there. And to your point of Green coming back, he's actually on my fantasy baseball team. So, I'm actually looking forward to throwing him back in my outfield lineup as well today. to your point, he actually has been doing great at AAA. Toledo, I was tracking him. I'm pretty sure he was hitting close to 500 with a bomb, and about 7 RBIs or something like that over 6 games. So, he's definitely going to be a welcome addition to get the healthy for them.
And I mean, we've talked about it. The Tigers bat struggling a little bit. Get someone
Yep.
like Green back who's going to bat at the top of the lineup, get on base, going to take less pressure off everybody else. I think the Tigers are alive today. Now, look, if you guys watching are like, oh, but it's plus 195, you can get plus money on the run line for the year. The Jays have a negative ROI on the run line. Tigers have a positive ROI. So you can play that if you're not looking to play the
straight up winner. Yeah,
the straight up winner.
Nice.
Well, that's it, man.
So, well, I got one more. I got one more. I got one in my back pocket, right? I always have to have one more.
This wasn't given out.
This is not like This was just something that I've been staring at really hard all day, or this morning so far. But I've been looking at this since last night as well, because I took the Mets last night to come in against the Padres and win. They did. They beat them in extras. And, right now they are so undervalued going into this matchup. It's driving me nuts looking at this number for them. They are plus 155 on the money line right now after coming in on a 5-game win streak for themselves. They're basing this line completely off of Snell, which, don't get me wrong, Snell is in great form for himself. And, I can run down some numbers here for everybody in just a second. But, point is that their money line for the Padres, minus 170, I'm just not seeing it. The Mets at plus 155, you got so much value. You got David Peterson going against Blake Snell. Here are these numbers. I'm gonna read off this first line for you, and you tell me who it is. You got a 0.9 ERA, 1.4 WHIP over the last 2 weeks. Which pitcher is that?
Brian Wu. Who else, dude? I mean, Brian. It's obviously Brian Wu, right?
I mean, no. That is David Peterson for the Mets. That's David Peterson for the Mets. And then conversely, Blake Snell, 1.64 ERA, 1.45 WHIP, as well over his last 11 innings pitched. You have a very evenly ranked pitching matchup when you're going into this. The odds are clearly favoring the Mets here. I just don't understand, how the market is looking at that right now. Even the bullpens are in the favor. And when I actually look at, just the overall offensive team for themselves, the Mets are my number 6 overall ranked team right now. And, you're just getting even on both sides, because I have San Diego also ranked right there, also at number 6. When run support and everything actually comes into play with where my rankings come offensively, sometimes these teams are very similar, and that is exactly where the Mets and the Padres are right now. You have 2 pitchers in exact same great form. It is it is just a very much another value play if you're looking at this one. Do not get too biased on the Padres at that heavy money line. Got to be looking at the better dog with the better evenly stats. I mean, if that was a play that I wanted to recommend, I would go Mets money line plus 155 as another play for the day.
You know what, dude? You gave another play of the day, and I feel I need to give another play of the game. I'm going to go in the same game. Let me pull this up. Mets, Padres, 9-10, player prop, Blake Snell, total strikeouts. We're looking at, oh my God. Well, never mind. It's at 7.5. It's juiced down to minus 133. Yeah. That's a little too much juice for me, but I would definitely, you look at this. 7, 10, 11, 12, 12, 8, 7, 6. He's putting up those numbers and they're pricing it this low at 7.5. That kind of leads you to something. I'm just kind of saying that. Not an official play though, because I didn't get this. I didn't get good odds. So there you have it. I'm on the Mariners first 5, Mariners game, Brian Wu over strikeout props, and the Tigers plus the 195. David, you are on the.
Got the Mariners for the money line for the game. I got Cincinnati, Milwaukee over 9, and Chicago first 5 money line plus 178. At the end there, threw in the Mets plus 155. I definitely think that is something everybody needs to be paying attention for the last game on the board today.
I like it, my man. Let's make some money. Let's cash some tickets. Good luck, and we'll be back next week, everybody.
Let's cash. Thank you.